think one of the hardest things about this assignment was actually critiquing myself. Part of the chapter 3 that White has written, it goes back onto what the teachers are doing. And for this problem, since I am the only physical science teacher, I had to look at, well, what am I doing in the classroom? Because I have the direct contact with the students. What can I do to improve? And what am I doing that may be causing these stagnant scores? So part of this goes into, I give a lot of formative assessments, and I love giving lots of formative assessments simply because of the fact that I like to know how my kids are doing. I want them to do well. However, after kind of looking at them, I realized and going back, they lack that explanation component of the standard. And without that explanation component, they're not reaching the level that they need to be able to answer those higher order thinking questions. So this made me go back and look at my test. Well, what am I giving on the test? Does it match what the standard wants us to know? And what I find is that one of the issues is that all of my questions remain around the DOK 1 or 2 level, which means depth of knowledge. I need to be pushing them to the DOK 3 and 4 level. I need them to be predicting. I need them to be developing products. And that's where I'm messing up. And I know that my questioning is good because I've got this 75%, but if I really want those distinguished learners, I need to go back and reevaluate my testing and really push them to higher order thinking. Also, because there is a lot of modeling, there is a lot of constructing, I do limit my performance task. Um, and a lot of this goes back to early testing time. I just own a time crunch. And when I plan, I need to make sure that I am planning for that laboratory explanation. I'm building that time in. Um, and this may call for me to have a different method of teaching. I may need to go to the flipped model before labs so that I have that time to get them to that level that they need and to push myself past the 75% success rate. Now, I will say that although that I would love to do a lot of these things and have these things, especially the flipped classroom, to give myself more time, we do have minimal technology here, being in a rural district. We do have one-to-one devices, but oftentimes that's not as beneficial as we would like it to be because we do have a lot of kids without internet access. Also, a lot of these labs do require funds for consumable products, are just limited. I do have to pay for a lot of this out of my pocket, and sometimes I cut things out because of funding. And those kids actually need that if I really, really, really want to see that growth. Um, Overall, we do have a lot of good structures in place, in my classroom at least. One thing I've highlighted here in purple is that for my classroom structures, I do keep good maintaining classroom expectations. My classroom is where every child can learn. And I'm proud of that. And I think that's one of the reasons that I do have that 75% success rate. Um, However, even though I maintain my own classroom, sometimes the expectations from administration aren't as clear. What is said, what's being observed, what's evaluated doesn't always equal the same vision. So a lot of times I'm getting conflicting feedback that my TEKS looks great, but yet my scores aren't where they need to be. I want everything, to kind of be on that same page. And I think we're improving on that here because one thing that we do lack is a curriculum map. And I think this kind of goes into processes as well. Um, that we just don't have a guide for what we want and what's expected. And we're starting to develop this now. This is in our school improvement plan. So I'm excited to actually revamp my lessons. One thing with lesson planning that I am fortunate to have in our structures is that I have the flexibility to do things as I need to see fit. I don't have to have approval for that. And so that I'm better able to serve my students. And I'm thankful for that because I know a lot of districts don't have that ability. Overall, I think this project has given me a better insight on what I can do to improve and if going forward, what I could bring forward to administration or to my department head, things that we can do to better serve our students, especially my physical science students, to really get those distinguished learners and to get my numbers above a 75%.